Local 3 News for more local stories.
Sometimes we have guests on the show and I'm just amazed at their heart, and that is definitely true of our next two guests. I bet they're going to resonate with you as well because they're here with Hospice of Chattanooga, and they are both kind of co-coordinators for the volunteer program there, Lauren Huckabee and Jessica Davis. Both of you have had experiences, you as a volunteer, right, a caregiver, Jessica.
Yes.
You, Lauren, have been in the medical field for a while, but you've experienced the blessings hospice can bring to a family. So good to have you both.
Thank you. So good to be here. Thank you for having us today.
So I had not really realized this, but it makes tons of sense to me now that when COVID happened, everything had to pull back 3 years ago, and y'all are just kind of rebuilding the volunteer program at hospice, and that's a core part of what you do.
It really is. It's a very essential part of hospice care, and just like with many other things, when COVID hit, that program was demolished. You know, they found it not necessary, so, you know, volunteers going into people's homes, into the facilities was just wiped clean. So we are just now really starting to try and build that program back to what it used to be. So.
When I said that about being just so impressed with the heart that you have, it's a special kind of person. I'm sure you found this in your caregiving days, Jessica.
Yeah.
You have to have a heart for it.
For sure.
Absolutely.
But with the volunteers, you're not the front line person necessarily. So the volunteers can be the smile that comes in, whether that's from the phone in the office, right? Or bringing pet therapy into a home.
Correct. So we have several different kinds of volunteers, but the two main ones are direct volunteers and indirect volunteers. The direct volunteers are the ones that go into the patient's homes, to the facilities, and sit with the patients, providing them with companionship. We do offer pet therapy, music therapy, art therapy. Gosh, am I missing anything, Jessica?
I don't think so.
No, so there's tons of things. And then there's the indirect volunteers who come into the office and they just want to be behind the scenes. They just want to do things to help us out, whether it's making calls to patients. We have a little set of ladies who are just amazing. They come in every Thursday and they spend several hours calling patients to make sure they have everything that they need for the weekend. And if they do not, we relay that to our nurses who make sure that the patient and their family have everything they need to get through until Monday. Something that was kind of wiped clean as well when COVID happened was the bereavement program. So we're really trying to start building that back as well. So that's something else that we're going to need volunteers for, is people to come in the office and make those bereavement phone calls for patients that have, for family members that have lost patients recently.
What's interesting is, not surprising, but you have this great training program for somebody who wants to be a volunteer.
We do.
So that you obviously have this natural heart for it, but then they're going to guide you through sort of what to expect and what you need to know.
Correct.
When you're in the situation. But this is a new walk for the family. They haven't been in this situation before.
Right.
And they need people who they can talk to about what they feel. Nobody needs to have their emotions suppressed.
Correct.
And I would think that the volunteers help them to talk.
Yeah, they do. You know, a lot of times the companionship's not only for the patient, but it's just as much for the caregiver. You know, those caregivers, you know, they're with the patient sometimes 24/7, and they just need that relief. They need someone to come in and just, you know, talk to on their level, someone that can understand them and relate to them and give them a break.
So if you're a volunteer, let's say that you do the pet therapy side of it for just a minute. That one made you happy.
Yes, I love the pet therapy. It's precious. It's absolutely precious.
Okay, so if somebody wants to do pet therapy, would they come to an individual family once a week? Is there a set schedule? How does that work?
So what happens when a volunteer decides that, you know, or a family reaches out saying, hey, we're interested in the volunteer program, you know, my father used to have a German Shepherd, and, you know, and so, you know, the German Shepherd's not with us anymore. Do you have anything? We would go out with the volunteer and the dog or cat or whatever that animal would be, and we would meet with the family, and at that time the volunteer would discuss with the family how often they wanted those visits.
Oh,
so,
okay.
And it can be as much from once or twice a month to once a week, you know, so it's really just whatever the caregiver wants. We really work around their schedule.
Which means, I guess, Jessica, that if you're listening today and you're interested in volunteering, but maybe you have a job or, you know, you have other obligations in your life, you can kind of give as you are comfortable giving?
Yeah. So it's basically based on the volunteer's preference as well as the families. So they'll kind of coordinate with us, and then we'll go and get with the families and discuss times that they can come that's best for their schedule.
You have about 6 counties, if you will, 6 areas where you serve. So if you're watching us and you're not in Chattanooga proper, even though it's Hospice of Chattanooga, there's a good chance there's a location near you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
I want to say, you like the word precious.
Yes.
And you used that a minute ago before we got on air because you were talking about a military component of what you do, a service.
Yes, so we have retired veterans who become volunteers, and then if we have a patient that's a retired veteran and the family, you know, wants this to be done, we offer a ceremony called a vet-to-vet pinning. It's very emotional. The first one I went to, I was a mess because it was just so emotional. You know, you have a patient the end of life, you know, who served our country, and then, whew, I'm gonna get emotional talking about it. And then, you know, you have someone going out to honor them. So it's an amazing ceremony.
See, okay, I'm sorry that I Barbara Waltered you and got you. You don't know who Barbara Walters is, do you, Jessica? You little young thing. But I got you crying. But that circles right back around to what we talked about at the beginning. That this is infused into who you are.
Yes,
this desire. It is a calling.
Absolutely.
And I think that the older I get, what I find is that whatever your calling is, if you don't answer that call, then you're not fulfilled. Yes. So by you being here today, there might be people out there who have that same calling and they don't know how to give it. So this is a gift to them right back.
It really is. You said the word fulfilled, and that's really what I tell my husband every day for 2 months when I've left work. I was like, I feel so fulfilled today, whether it's sitting in the office doing paperwork or getting out in the facility seeing patients. We'll just go see patients, you know, not because we have to, just because
we want to.
We want to,
That's what
and
we love.
it's just loving on them and just giving them, you know, that companionship and the love that they need. It's just it's an amazing thing.
Okay, we got to go get Lauren a tissue. So here's how you can get in touch with them, okay? You can do it the old-fashioned way and call 423-987-4580. If you want to go online, hospiceofchattanooga.org is your website. If they want to begin the volunteer process, would they go through the website?
They absolutely would. If they have any issues trying to get on to do the application process, the 423-987-4580 is my direct line, and I can guide them through the process.
You will actually get her.
Yes.
Okay, thank you both.
Yes, thank you so much.
Get our free Local 3 News app
Be the first to know about breaking news, live streams,
and updated local forecasts where you live.
local coverage is just a touch away on the Local